On the line, we have Brooke Lewis Bellas talking to us from... Where are you talking to us from, Brooke?
I am in Hollywood, Matt. I am watching the palm trees out my home office window, and it's like 82 degrees here right now. What's going on where you are?
It is 0 degrees and raining.
Oh, no. I don't know. The rain would depress me. Does it depress you?
Everything about this year depresses me.
Cheers to that.
Yeah.
Cheers to that, my friend.
Well, obviously, we are talking about COVID. I presume Hollywood's in lockdown.
You are correct. In fact, right now, you know this. They just launched another. In fact, when we were sitting on the line ready to chat with you, they just did another mass alert on our phones. So Kat's PR and I were like, "Oh, another alert!" And it kind of bumped me off of our conversation for a moment. And it's really a hardcore lockdown right now. I think it's really important that we do have another lockdown in this moment, just because the spikes are so incredibly high, and it's scary. It's really scary.
Well, this is today, in fact, this news has come. Basically, we, the UK, have had the first vaccine injections.
Is that true?
Yep.
And who were they administered to?
One was a 90-year-old woman, and the second one, because I've told this story already twice tonight, the second one was a gentleman, 80-year-old gentleman called William Shakespeare.
No.
Yeah.
How fabulous is that?
So obviously I do have to ask the question, COVID-19, 2020, what's it been like for you this year?
Oh, Matt, that is such a solid question, and I have to be honest in my answers. I choose to be. So it has been an incredible roller coaster, truly, truly, in every way, personally, professionally. I mean, in all honesty, we think that my husband and I may have had it the very first week of January. We were violently sick. So we don't know for sure. We haven't taken the antibodies test. I had another recent scare a couple of weeks ago where we thought we had it, and it turned out I had the flu, but I was so violently sick with every symptom. I feel like I have been so affected in many ways, firsthand, secondhand, again, personally and professionally, with people who I know and love very, very, very sick. I've known people who have passed from COVID, and it has been absolutely gut-wrenching. So the world as we know it is different now. And it has been so challenging that the philanthropist in me has chosen to do as much activism and philanthropy work that I possibly can, whether it is with the Actors Fund or, frontline responders and or other organizations where, I just did a thing recently with endorsing the Mission LA, where I used to go every holiday season and help feed the homeless on Skid Row, and obviously we cannot do that in person right now, so I wanted to support the best I can for Giving Tuesday. And so I just think it's so important to be in gratitude for what little we all do have, and to help others and give back in any way we can to help balance the sadness in the world right now. And on the other note, professionally, and I say this again in absolute gratitude, Matt, that it was kind of surreal. Like, I had taken off of the industry for a year to produce my marriage soiree in 2019. So I was so missing the thing I loved so much, which is acting, and needing to jump onto projects as a producer. And so I share in a final note that in the fall of 2019, I feel so grateful that I had several opportunities to act in and or produce projects that gave me the chance to, throughout this pandemic in 2020, be in my home office and be able to work 15-hour days virtually and do my Zoom meetings like everyone else is doing right now, and to be able to work, believe it or not, diligently in post-production and learn in a whole new way, and also segueing over to, for all the filmmakers who work in distribution as well, and that's part of my producing, negotiating deals for streaming platforms, negotiating deals for projects. And so, as crazy as it sounds, I have been busy as ever. It's just busy in a very different way, including, to my own surprise, and to finally end it, we were able to shoot a virtual streaming series, a virtual horror thriller streaming series titled Red Rooms, that we went into, pre-production immediately when the pandemic hit in March, and filmed fully virtually with our entire cast and crew, and have been in post-production ever since. So I will leave you with that.
Well, I was actually going to mention about that in terms of how people have been quite creative with the whole pandemic. I mean, one of the films that has been released this month in the UK is called Host, and it's basically a Zoom conference with a seance.
Wow. Have you seen any footage?
I've seen bits of it. I mean, it's a bit like Unfriended. That's a good example. Actually, I've just looked at the plotline for Red Rooms, and it's not too dissimilar to it, is it? If I'm brutally honest.
Yes and no. So, there is something that is very sick and twisted about the deep, dark web, and there is something that is very creatively, geniusly twisted about my creator and director of our show, Joshua Butler. And we had actually shot a proof of concept. We had wanted to work together. We have known each other through the industry for 15 years. And we actually shot a proof of concept for a larger project back in October. And when the pandemic hit, I went to him and I said, look, I know that you and I will go even more insane if we don't stay creative. I have an idea. And I had created an idea, an earlier concept from last year. And I said, let's take this proof of concept and my idea and let's embellish it. Let's somehow creatively figure out how to do this virtually, and we will film it. And he then said, may I take the concept and create a larger, he's the writer, I'm not, and I'm just the creative brainstormer, and he took it and created an entire umbrella story because he knew the dark web more than I could ever have even attempted. And so it was really raw, Matt, and all your listeners, he schooled me on this dark web where sort of more like, instead of Unfriended, which I love, but more like, we'll say, The Purge a bit, The Purge Anarchy, where these very wealthy, sick and twisted individuals go onto legit, really happens, onto these dark web red rooms, and they pay a lot of money to have people abducted, captured, held captive, and either psychologically and more often physically tortured, almost to the borderline of snuff back in the day. And so it can get extremely sick and twisted and dark. And that being said, that's not, as a huge horror fan and obviously Scream Queen, honored Scream Queen, it's not really what inspires me. So when it comes to content, I'm much more of, like I said early on, Brian De Palma fan, a Hitchcock fan. I love to act and psychological. That being said, we took his concept and he created an entire brilliant umbrella story of how all these characters connect through a very dark backstory and what has brought them each here today to the Red Rooms. So, like you're sharing with a Zoom sort of concept, like an Unfriended, where I imagine, if I'm correct interpreting, that it is, various people on screen at once in the squares. We literally filmed this for a week, and we filmed it separately through COVID. So we were all isolated individually. I would sit in my video village, which I joke about. I created my own video village at my home. Joshua would be in his home studio actually filming. I would FaceTime in to watch and to give notes. I was the main producer. He would direct the actor, and the actor would be at their home and in their setup. It was such a wild ride. And so each performer, each character is captured in their own space, and so they're individually not programmed, on a shared screen, but each story you will see will tie into the larger umbrella concept, which is just wild and so smart. So I give Joshua all the props for that.
I'm loving this idea, to be honest. When's it coming out?
So believe it or not, and this I will share again for all the filmmakers that listen to your show, as I know they do. We set our sights on something, and of course, working with Joshua Butler, he has the mind of a mad scientist, so I always knew that he couldn't just keep it simple like we had originally planned, and I say that with love and respect. So he created like an even larger, broader concept around it, which would take much longer to fully post. So we literally have been in post-production since May of this year, and we have upped the ante each time with, and again, I don't want to give away all our secrets, but for all the filmmakers, it has been such a learning curve and such an education of how to do this and still make it look professional and keep it higher concept. And Josh had to learn, and I had to learn as the producer, and I was purchasing, for the production, like various CGI and VFX apps for him to be able to create this look like a real quality piece. So we are finishing up post. We are due by the beginning of the new year. I, as the producer, have had several meetings with some streaming showrunners and TV series here in the U.S., networks, I should say. And so I say everyone sit tight, and I am hopeful that we will have it released summer or fall of next year. And all the filmmakers listening, you guys know, and I say this humbly, but I say this with conviction, I think it's easy in this day and age to go out and to shoot a micro-budget film and to call yourself a filmmaker, but I'm old school, and I've been in this business for over 20 years, and in my humble opinion, to do something quality, it takes time. And, I share that often in conversations and interviews. Just a shout out to a film I'm extremely proud of that we did for close to $2 million years ago, Sinatra Club. I want your listeners to really hear this for all the true blue filmmakers, and I know it can be done way faster now. I found that script in 2004, fell in love with it, fell in love with the supporting role of Rosella that I would go on to play. We filmed in 2009. We released and distributed the film in 2011, originally limited theatrical through Warner Brothers, and then it was shut down and went to streaming through Gravitas, actually, and was all over on demand, and it was a top film on Netflix for years. That being said, that is, do the math, guys, 2004, 2009, 2011, 7 years of my life to, be one of obviously many producers on a project of that magnitude. So it takes time to do it right and to wait and not jump on to the first distribution deal that comes your way, to be patient and to trust in the process. And right now we're just very much in the process, and I am with several projects that, again, it's like I pinch myself sometimes, and I'm like, I have been through so much this year, so much negative like everyone else, but at the same time I'm so blessed to be in a position where we actually created so much content last fall that we've got stuff to focus on in post, which we can release in 2021. So I'm really grateful. And that being said, you and I talked off air before, like we share so many mutual business associates that, I've been so fortunate to work with them, and I'm excited about what's to come when the world heals.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm glad you mentioned that, because I'm going to shock you even more now, even before we get to the next part of it. Last month, or maybe a couple of weeks ago, it might be now, I had Darren Jacobs on the podcast.
Stop it! Stop it, Matt! You're freaking me out. Like, are you and I, cousins in real life or something? What is going on here? I love him. We got to make out.
Well, I'll tell you why we had him. The reason why we had him wasn't because of that. It was because of Death Stranding. So, obviously, we had Darren, and obviously Starship did come up in conversation. As a film, basically. I mean, he was the main lead in it.
He was the star. Did he tell you how great I am of a kisser? I'm just kidding.
That wasn't mentioned in the interview, no.
I love him. He is such a wonderful actor and such a wonderful human being. Please give him my love when you talk to him next. Hopefully he'll be listening to our podcast. I just adore him. He's such a solid human being. Look at this. So many people I have worked with, actors, directors, writers, distributors, and it just it makes me so happy. I'm like grinning right now because, again, in such a challenging time in the world and with so many people in a state of loss, we'll say, or negativity, you know, like I sit and I reflect on being an OG in the industry, you know, and I've been doing this consistently for over 20 years. And like, I've gotten to work with some of the most incredible actors. There may be people out there who have no idea who I am as an actress or producer, but it's like, you know, if I rattled off this list of veteran greats and young talents that are on the rise, which you cover both, you know, on your show, like, it's so cool. But I just love Darren. He's lovely.
So, obviously, we get on to Stripped,
Mm-hmm.
which I think you mentioned before the interview is due to be released soon.
Mm-hmm. So, one of my most proud projects probably ever, and especially within the last year, and how freaking hilarious is it that we share Mark Klebanoff and Frank Kruger, who are my counterparts on this project. Mark Klebanoff is the creator of the show, with, rest in peace, the wonderful Christophe St. John, and they had created this piece many years ago. They created a treatment for it, and it was a TV comedy drama pilot titled Stripped that was sort of based loosely on Christophe St. John's life, and he passed much too soon, beginning of 2019, February 2019. He and Mark Klebanoff were just the best of friends, and Mark wanted to continue his legacy. And the irony was that we had all worked together for years. Frank Kruger and I had acted. I had done a small role in Break that he had done with Michael Madsen that he starred in, and Mark Klebanoff directed Gerald, which I got to play a supporting role in with, again, Frank Kruger and Louis Mandylor. And they have this amazing group of brilliant actors that we get to work with over and over again. And so what had happened was, funny enough, Frank and I had a meeting last fall, and we had said we hadn't worked together in so long, and I just think Frank is an exquisitely talented actor. He truly is just an incredibly talented actor. And we said, we got to do something. Let's talk. You know, right now, TV streaming is so hot. Let's talk. So I made the call to Klebanoff. We actually took a meeting with him, and I said, we want to do something. Like, why don't you direct it and have Frank and I star in it? And that's when he said, wait a minute, we could do Stripped. So he had created roles, which is Chris Cameron is the character, and he had created me as the female lead, as Jules, the publicist, and Frank's role is Neil, the agent, to Chris Cameron, who then later we cast the amazing Casper Van Dien. So we decided to get together and, you know, raise as much money as we possibly could and do something low budget last fall, and we worked our tails off. We ended up going to Reno, Nevada for the month of December last year, 1 year ago to date, and we filmed an entire pilot and a 6-episode streaming TV series titled Stripped. So it was Frank and I, like I said, Casper Van Dien, Larry Henkin from Home Alone and El Camino, Breaking Bad. We have Jenny Wenger. We have Jessica Morris. We have Louis Mandylor. I'm going to forget everyone. Suze Lanier Bramlett and the hilarious Dat Fan. And the list goes on and on and on. Essie Perry, who was one of our other angels and one of our co-producers on the project, who brought so much to the table. And so I could shout out to everyone, but that being said, we did a blood, sweat, and tears project that we are extremely proud of, that we have been in post-production as well throughout the pandemic, and Klebanoff's working his butt off. All while we just released The Morning, which is another film we all did together, like I mentioned, that is now on Tubi and will be releasing soon on Amazon Prime, so everyone can keep their eyes out on that. And I also am a co-producer on that and play a supporting role that I love. We have been in negotiations for distribution for Stripped. We have interest from several. You know, we have to choose wisely. And more importantly, the conversation right now that I can share is that Mark Klebanoff and some big producers want to shoot another season next spring, next summer, as soon as this pandemic lets up and it's safe to, you know, union shoot and do it correctly, which I believe, as you already know, as a professional of many years, to do it correctly. And that will transpire next year. So we're super excited, and I'm just like over the moon with this project. I love my role so very much. Matt, may I share something? I can give you like an exclusive that's really on the down low. So we were just at the Nova market, which is an independent TV and film market back east, and I wasn't physically there. We did it virtually, obviously, just like a week ago. And we were nominated for, it's a private market. We did a private screening because we can't do anything public, because we follow the rules with some of the bigger festivals that we're waiting to hear from, and some of the distributors that, don't want us to screen publicly. So we have not screened anything publicly. We had a VIP private screening, and it was incorporated within the TV market, and we were nominated for several awards, and no one has even heard this yet because I can't fully publicly share, but let's just say it'll be revealed probably in the next few weeks. But I actually was blessed with Best Supporting Actress in a TV Series award. So you guys are hearing it first in the UK, and I know we're going to be allowed to announce it soon in the US, and I'm just so blessed and grateful to have such a great team. And man, we went through such blood, sweat, and tears with this project Stripped, and we battled, man. We battled on the battleground, we battled with each other, but we came out better than ever, thicker than ever. And it's so great to work with such a talented, hardworking team.
Well, I like the fact that you were in Starship and Casper was in Starship Troopers.
Isn't that so cool? Starship Troopers, yes. And I got to do the Neil Johnson Starship Rising series with Darren, and the amazing Marilyn Gigliotti, who's one of my closest friends in the world, and Claudia Wells was one of the stars of Starship Rising, and Emmy, and Christina Moses from A Million Little Things, who I think is just incredibly talented too. So that was a really cool indie experience many, many years ago. Again, that's what we had talked about off air. Like, what projects do we even touch on when there's so many? And again, I hear myself out loud, and even though sometimes I feel like I haven't nearly scratched the surface of my goals and dreams and what I want to accomplish, and my dream is to be back on a full-blown TV series again, like I was when I was younger. And I love acting so much. That's why I have been forced to produce so much, so I can play these incredible roles. I definitely have had incredible opportunities, which I created mostly myself in the genre films over the years, from the Starship Risings to the Kinky Killers on Showtime, to shout out to Slime City Massacre, Greg Lamberson, my other wonderful director, who we just hit our 10-year anniversary release for Slime City Massacre, and we've got another great deal coming out. It'll be on Amazon streaming, Amazon Prime soon. I'm sure it'll hit the UK as well, and I just don't know the street date, but they're saying by the end of 2020. We've been waiting and waiting, so what a great way to celebrate another film that I'm so proud of, that won me in 2010 the big Hollywood B-Movie Awards, and I won the B-Movie Award for Scream Queen Horror Actress of the Year for Slime City Massacre. So go back to sort of that cultish type of film. I mean, I feel like I've been very lucky.
The weirdest thing about this interview, I mean, obviously we've mentioned that there's a personal connection to us, but then it suddenly dawned on me, and this is almost like going back to the beginning almost, which is very rare for me. I never go back further than 2011 usually, 2010 I should say, because I remember the first independent film that I interviewed the cast of was in fact Break.
Frank's Break? Get out of here. I played a small supporting role, a day player role actually, with the amazing James Russo and David Carradine. Oh my gosh. I mean, I remember going to the premiere. It was amazing. We were on like USA Today. I mean, that was a really notable, raw, awesome indie film that got a ton of publicity, and it was such a blessing. And so I know I'm listed with the cast, but I mean, I probably wasn't invited to do the show because I had a small role, but it was such a great gift from Klebanoff and Frank.
Well, I've noticed that there's a few other interesting projects that you've been in, particularly the Miss Vampy.
Aww.
Stuff.
Thank you.
Would that ever come back?
Great question. And people ask that all the time. It's so funny. I could do, 60 film and television and no one cares, and then they all want to know, where's Miss Vampy, which means the world to me because that's my alter ego, my passion project, a project that I took my Scream Queen and horror persona 11 years ago and attempted to create something with meaning, and that's when I created my teen talk show for girls with Ms. Vampy. And she originally started out as an Elvira host, and I've been so blessed and I've won many awards with her projects as well. So where we are right now is, for me, it's like we actually did Ms. Vampy's Love Bites, which you can find on streaming in UK and Australia on Hiveo. So everybody check out Hiveo with Ms. Vampy's Love Bites that Stacey Lane Wilson, one of my best friends and amazing directors as well, did together with Matt Robb. And so that's, that was only a few years back. That's still out. But where I am right now is really focused on Vamp It Out. It was a feature film, then had interest from a TV network for teens, so it was optioned for a brief moment, and we created it into a TV series we spent writing for 2 years. Now we may go back to the screenplay, so my interest with her would be to make sure that it gets out in the next level with not just a web series, but it needs to be either that feature film, Vamp It Out, or the TV series with like a legitimate TV network or streaming network. So I only can hope that it gets that type of attention in the next year where we can actually create that. That would be my next goal. I just don't know if I'd want to do any more like web series with her,
Well, obviously you've done a number of different projects. It's fast to do in one interview. I think I'm gonna have to get you back, Brooke.
I would be honored, Matt.
But are there any roles that you haven't done yet that you would like to do?
Many. Some people in the industry, outside of the industry, have this perception of women in the industry when we turn 40 and we're like, thrown out to pasture. And that was the old way of doing things. Now it's very different. The climate's very different. I think women are more empowered than ever in the business and are creating their own shows, their own products, and really stepping up and climbing the ranks in Hollywood. And I think it's amazing. So I'm actually looking forward to stepping into my own as a grown woman. I've always played much younger. I mean, I was on a Fox sitcom for a brief time titled Quintuplets with Andy Richter and Jake McDorman, who went on to be a huge TV star. And I played a senior in high school when I was like in my late 20s. So it's so funny, so it's kind of those like 90210 TV type of shows when you're like in your late 20s playing like 17. When I'm not producing and creating a role myself, I'm playing these roles that I feel aren't exactly inspiring to what I want to do. And so if you, all the listeners, viewers, take a look at some of my short films that I'm so proud that I had the opportunity to produce with some incredible writers and directors. Sprinkles for one, and Psychotherapy for two. Alan and Millie, a short romance. Ricky Dean Logan from the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, and Courtney Gaines from Children of the Corn in Sweet Home Alabama. Just work with amazing people. I bring it up because, first of all, they're all on Amazon Prime streaming, my short films. Take a look. And B, you'll see like a role like Sprinkles, a role like Psychotherapy, those sort of, empowered women, revenge, thriller, psychological films. Those are the roles I love. I love those sort of powerful, conflicted, struggling, dark, like vixen roles that I'm excited to step into as I can play a 40-year-old woman now, as I am getting older, as I am growing into my own character actress, empowered roles. Like, those are the roles I just can't wait to sink my fangs into, pun intended, like over and over and over again as I go into a different part of my industry and my career. Like, I feel like I haven't even done what I dream of doing just yet.
I mean, I do have to ask the question because this has come up in the last couple of weeks or so, people mentioning it. Please tell me you've seen Fleabag.
The series?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I mean, Phoebe Waller-Bridge is just perfection. I mean, in every way. Like, to me, she is exemplary of, what a woman can do in this industry at this time.
I mean, I like the fourth wall stuff, to be honest, but that's just me.
It's really unique, that show. It's really well done. I'm always honest, like, is it my favorite? No. I know people flip out over it. I think it's super well done. It's not my favorite. I'm very much into the dramas. I'm very much into, I know it's dark and it has a dark comedic feel to it. Like, I love the dramas. Have you seen, okay, I mean, for everyone in the UK, have you seen The Undoing on HBO?
No.
Okay. Do you like drama?
Yes.
Okay, you need to watch it. I mean, Hugh Grant, Nicole Kidman, Donald Sutherland, just, to me, it's so, I know it's a miniseries, but it's incredible. Incredible. I mean, one of my favorites, which my husband and I actually binge watched this during pandemic, is Sons of Anarchy. I mean, to me, I love that gritty, dark, but it still has heart and tugs at your heartstrings. That's my jam. Like, I love SOA. I love, there's parts of Breaking Bad that I love that we just rewatched again. True Blood is one of my favorite series ever, and Sopranos, obviously. So I'm really into sort of the raw dramas that kind of rip your heart out.
Well, I'm going to give you a 1 minute plug, Brooke, a 1 minute plug to plug basically 2021. Yeah.
Is the timer on?
It is on now, yeah.
So, first and foremost, most importantly, all this wonderful film talk aside, for 2021, all I really pray for the world is to heal, and that we can get back into our lives and live fully again, albeit it may be slightly different. I just wish for everyone to be healthy and happy, and I wish for, selfishly, my career to really take off to that next level, and that we have stripped on the perfect TV platform, and that I'm excited to share the second age of Aquarius, Stacey Lane Wilson and Darren Gordon Smith's musical sci-fi comedy that I get to act in, and love my role, stepping into that mature, fun, funny role, and I'm an executive producer, so shout out to that. Shout out to the Day of the Living Dead, our director Thomas Churchill. Love him, and we don't have a street date for that yet, but keep your eyes out. Shout out to, again, Slime City Massacre, releasing on Amazon Prime with Greg Lamberson at the helm. And we talked about Stripped. We talked about The Morning. I don't really have information on a couple other projects that I'm involved with or when they'll be released, but I know it will be in the next 2 years. So the good news is, if we can't be out and about and with the people we love come January, maybe you guys can at least stay in and watch some fun quality content that my peers and I have created.
Well, Brooke, it's been a pleasure interviewing you.
It has been an honor, Matt. I appreciate it. I love how connected we are, and we will stay connected, and I will come back to visit again.
Yes, I will definitely say you should.
Thank you.
I definitely will say that. I think Stripped could be the next, well, I don't want to say the next thing, because then that means that something's come before it, but it could be a fantastic idea.
It's super, super fun.
And then the best part was, do I need to ask for cast interviews? No.
Oh, of course. We'll have to get everybody on the show. Are you kidding?
I think it might be time for me to start doing video, and if we can get all, 5 of us, 6 of us on at once, that'll be a good interview.
Oh, that would be a blast. I know that Cleb and Frank are down, and I know that I'm sure Casper and Jenny would be in, and that would be so fun. I think let's wait till the new year so we can have we can actually maybe even announce on your show like where we're releasing or when we're filming the next, season. But we would love that. I know I can speak for the crew. They would love it.
Thanks very much for your time, Brooke.
Thank you, Matt, for having me. Shout out to your listeners. Everybody stay healthy and happy holidays, and cheers to a better 2021.
Thanks very much for your time.
Thank you.
Bye-bye now.
Bye, hon.